Hey everybody, be very quiet. Welcome to this episode of Sustainable Stace. We've just received baby chicks, and I want to walk you through the process of getting the chick coop ready and introducing them to their new environment. Here we go.
I'm Stace. For me, healthy food and sustainability are totally connected. You can grow it yourself. Nature is generous.
Yeah guys, welcome to this episode of Sustainable Stace. I hope your day's going great, and I promise it's about to get better because I'm going to get to introduce you to these new baby chicks that I haven't even met yet. They were hatched one day ago. They were sexed, so these should be females for laying chicks, and they've come overnight via post, and they've arrived at our farm. I wanted to walk you through the steps of preparing this space for baby chicks so that you can do it as well and have guaranteed success at your place, and then I'll introduce you to the baby chicks and we'll get them launched into their new little habitat. So I just want to lead you through the steps that I took to get ready for these baby chicks to be here. 1 week ago I had adult laying flock in this coop, and I needed to make sure it was ready with the old girls gone and the new babies coming in for it to be totally ready. So these are the steps that I went through, and at a moment here you're going to see these steps on the screen too so you can walk through it. I did a clean sweep of the whole room, from the ceiling right on down, the windows, the walls. I got it completely cleaned and swept out and took all the litter and debris from the previous year's chicks. Then when the dust settled, I used a product that in my area is called Virkon, V-I-R-K-O-N. It comes in a powder form, and it's a full spectrum agent that you dissolve in water, and I put it in a sprayer, and I sprayed the whole interior of this room with Virkon, so it kills any disease, any bacteria, anything that would persist from the previous flock, though they were healthy, to make sure the babies would be guaranteed surefire success. So once it was cleaned and swept and I'd sprayed Virkon around, then I got ready, making sure it was ready to go for the chicks. No drafts, no gusts of wind, no breeze through. You have to have it totally warm with still air, so draft proof. Critter free. You can't have any mice or rodents or rats or anything bigger that could cause damage to your flock, so critter proof as well. And then beyond that, I started to make things safe, like in the corners. I took a staple gun and I started to put pieces of cardboard in each of the corners of the coop so the corners are rounded so that you don't have any square corners where the chicks can pile up. And then when I'm in that position, we're starting to get the place ready to think about the chick habitat. On the floor, I put dry bedding, nice dry sawdust like this, and then I sprinkled over it diatomaceous earth. And with that, it makes sure there's no critters like chicken mites or fleas living in the litter that could immediately infect or cause disease or harm the chicks in any way. And then at that point, I wanted to stabilize things and make it very controlled. You're wanting to replicate a baby chick living underneath its mother. I put cardboard over all the windows so there's no natural light coming in. It's very subdued light, and actually the light bulb that's on now for this video recording, it'll get turned off when I'm done recording, and we'll just be down to the heat lamps. The heat lamps are on chains. They're on hooks on the ceiling. I can raise or lower them accordingly, and once I've got the baby chicks loose in here, I'll be able to tell whether they're too warm or too cold in terms of proximity to the heat lamp. If they're clustered in really tight, we know they're too cold, and I've got to bring the heat lamp down a bit. If they're spread out to the walls and they're pushing out to the margins of the room, I know that they're way too hot, and so I've got to decrease the heat or cool things down a little bit. Then I've got multiple choices of feed and water, but I do want to make sure just that you understand on the heat lamps, you've got to have redundancy. You don't want to go to bed at night with one heat lamp as your sole source of heat. If your bulb goes out or your breaker blows overnight, your chicks will have no heat, so I have multiple heat lamps in the room, or a heat lamp and a fan on different circuits that electrically, if one goes down, the other will keep on going. Then multiple containers of feed. This is the baby feed right here. And then I've got multiple waterers as well. There's little waterers here. And within the first 3 or 4 days, I'll have them onto an automatic waterer so that they can use that and I don't have to do any manual filling of water. So the goal here was multiple heat lamps, multiple feeders, multiple waterers, that the chicks will have a nice environment where there's lots of room, subdued light, very calming, and they'll feel just like they're underneath mother and they're totally chill. With enough space to move around in here, they should flourish. Now let's get ready to meet the new arrivals. Okay, so these babies came overnight. They were hatched about 24 hours ago. And this box, it's very light, it only weighs a few pounds. And it's divided into 4 sections, and each section is supposed to have 25 chicks in it. And I think 3 sections are full and 1 are empty. So I'm hoping that all of them are alive and well. And the first thing I want to do as I pull each chick out is check that it's well. Oh, they're absolutely gorgeous. And then I'm going to give them a drink of water. They're a mix of really dark brown to really light yellow. So here's one of these little cuties. Take a look at that. How cute is that? And the first thing I want to do, once I've got it, is with my waterer, I want to make sure it gets a drink of water. And with its beak dipped in the water, now it's had its drink, and I put it under a heat lamp, and then with it being under a heat lamp, it should be ready to go, and I'm just going to do that with each of the chicks. So I'll just move through that and get the camera trained so you can see me doing that. So one thing that's incredible to me is the energy that's in a baby chick from when it hatched inside the egg. These guys have gone 24 hours since they hatched with no food and no water. I've given them each a drink of water as I pull them out of the box, and you know that many of them are already coming back to the water and having another drink and moving around. And as soon as they're out of the box that they traveled in, they're not cheeping at all. So the stress level goes down and they feel calm. 3 of the quadrants of the box had baby chicks in them. 1 was empty. And I've got 2 of the 3 quadrants emptied out that had babies, and I'm just working on putting the 3rd little group in. They're doing so well. They look so good. Just bring them up here so you can see them up close. There they are, the baby chicks. So beautiful. This is probably the 8th or the 10th batch of chicks that I've raised in this coop. It's the first time I've bought chicks from a hatchery for laying. I've always hatched them in my own incubator and usually hatch about 150 babies at a time, but then that's a straight run, which means there's boys and there's girls in there. And so I raise the boys for roosters, and you can find my video on YouTube about harvesting poultry, it's called. And then the other half of those chicks raise up as our heritage breed layers. So these are heritage breed layers with no roosters included, and I was sure to find a hatchery that wouldn't be killing off the boys, but would have a future for the boys of a decent quality life. I'm down to the last 4 little babies coming out of the box here, and with that done, they'll all have had their first drink of water since they hatched, and I'm going to just turn off the lights and make my exit, and they're going to be able to just settle in underneath the heat lamps and start to rest from their very difficult first 24 hours. Thankfully, the post was really conscientious. They called me the second that the parcel came in this morning, and I was able to pick up the babies within 45 minutes of when they arrived. And so we've tried to do everything we could to make it work as best as possible. Thanks for watching along on YouTube, guys. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.